So hi there, welcome to lesson 5. In this lesson, we'll be going back to the collapse command and using it now to understand certain consistency logics. So it's greatly help us. Now we've established what we do for continuous variables, and what they really do is that they interact with categorical variables in some way. I'm going to show that also with collapse. And in advanced cases, sometimes a continuous variable can interact with another continuous variable and give us some insight or information. We have seen the value of finding the minimum value of continuous variables, the maximum value of continuous variables, and sometimes the mean. It gives us some information about what is going on. So let's go back and quickly do a refresher on collapse. We had already talked about this tale of 20 shapes, so we're not going to waste time with them. We've already also established how we can use collapse or contract, but in particular we are focusing now on collapse because we had mentioned that it had some other features. So there's a variable called shape type, variable called shape color, and there was frequency. Now frequency was one of the things that we got easily for collapse and contract. But there are two other uh, or three other measures. Sorry, I meant mean actually here, not median. So please just, just excuse or pardon this error. So there's minimum, there's maximum, and there's mean. And you can use the collapse command to generate it. Now, you remember we had in previous lessons where we had various teams and their average age or their average performance. So you can use this to find out and know if there is a problem, you know, within the groups that you have. So we have frequency, which we have already known. So a few statistics. Now, median can be also created, but for the purposes of this class, we just focus on the mean, not to demean the median, but to be very sincere, we just want to keep it to the basic understanding. Now, in advanced classes, we will literally take all of them, literally show you the context in which they apply and what information you can even use as regards data management. So there are massive loads of information that we can get when we use the collapse command. Okay, so let's move on to describing it again. We had done that. It creates a data set, remember, irreversible activity. So you need to use this with preserve and restore. I'm sure you have not forgotten that. So it gives you summary statistics, and that's the focus, summary statistics. This is the syntax. We have used it before, but please don't forget the by, because this is where we now begin to evaluate some data based on categorical variables or based on string variables, especially if they have some kind of grouping. I've also shared this before, the collapse, the mean, and everything. So we're going to look at a group of work we have done, especially during our practicals, and we'll be able to analyze and look for errors, inconsistencies based on continuous variables. Now we had done skips more or less in the previous module, but now this is just focusing on continuous variables, on string variables, and categorical variables. So in this practical session we're about to go into, we'll be more detailed, and look at one of the few examples we had done. Just continue from where we stopped and take all of us into deeper water so that we can glean some insight about how powerful this command can be and what the information can do for us. So thank you so much. I will see you in the practical session. So hi there, welcome to lesson 5. And so we are just looking at the same data set. So, and answering the same questions that we had answered just before. So we could use we can answer question 8, 9 again using that collapse command. So the most important thing is to find the finalized version, which is here. By this time you have appended all of them together. We want to find the highest scores in maths and English. So what we do is we're done with the graphs. So let's just remove them out of the way. And we have also removed the outliers in the last practical. So, or rather the non-response codes. Okay. Like I said, we'll treat that in detail in module 9, how we clean something and mop it up and make it very usable for the analyst. The final level for data management is cleaning. Okay. The collapse command, you had already used it before. So you type your collapse, and now we're just going to use, the default was mean, which is fine, but we were using count before. If you go back to, I believe that's module 3 or 4, you'll find that we had already addressed this. So we're going to use mean, and then we're going to also specify the subjects, which I think we had used before. Let me see if I can get, okay, English score and math score. We are looking for their means, generally for the whole school. Oh no, highest. It said highest, so pardon me, it is maximum. So max is the syntax to use. So collapse max, and then we will run the data. I told you before that when you use the collapse command, it changes the data structure. So can you see the highest for maths, the highest for English, and the highest for maths? So the values were there. In the previous lesson, we just saw a chart. Of course, we can label the chart, but we're not going deep into visualization at the beginner level. It's just basically introduction, but we will discuss that at the end of module 10. So that's how you do that. But the other question asked about these maximums on the level of the grade and of the spot. So let's do that. Now you remember it changes. So if you have to do this, don't forget your preserve and restore. So we can do that, and then export the results to Excel. So please go to the first time we ever discussed collapse, especially I think somewhere in module, I think that's module 5. Please, I'll try and put the link to that video below. And if I skip it, please just put it in the comments and I'll help you locate the video that helps you with this. So there is a by command, and then we are doing it by grade. We're doing it by grade. So let's run again and have a look here. So grade 1, the highest score for English for maths. Grade 2, the highest score for English for maths. Grade 3, grade 4, and grade 5. So we can also do, which is for the sporting games, I think it's best underscore sports. I don't know if it's with an S. So this is difficult to get now. Let me just run it again. I think it is best underscore sport. Okay, no S. I've told you that if you don't spell it exactly, it will show or come up with an error. So let's run again. So you see baseball, basketball, lawn tennis. And here you see that we are using string variables. So the danger of string variables it could also have categorical variables is spelling errors. So we would also talk about that. So that's basically what you find here. But you can also do a combination of for each spot and each grade. What was the highest score. So if I wanted to do that, I will put grade, and I want you to see the output, grade and best spot. So it will go for basketball, grade 1. What was the highest score for math? What was the highest score for English? So let's just quickly run that. So you can see all these are grade 1. So the highest guy for tennis in grade 1 had 65, and then the highest for table tennis for maths had 92. So it can even be as much as this, you know. So this is how powerful collapse can be. In the same way, of course, you can find the minimum values too. So if I type minimum value, I'm able to use that too. So these are the minimum values across um, the spread of this grade and sports. And of course, I can just focus just on best sport alone, you know, limit it to 5 options. So basically, that's how it works. I always advise tweak, play with these things until you build some level of confidence. I think we were asked to get something for French, so I just want to do that quickly. French. Where are you? I think we were asked to get the average. Average. So what's interesting is that you can. Let's get back here to Stata. Is you can now also now say average is different from maximum. So I say mean, and then I say French score, French underscore score, and then run again. So what you find here is the average. What you find here is the maximum. Now, the little thing you see whenever you do the collapse command is that it has a label. It does its label like that, but you may want to probably relabel it, and I've taught you that. So let's look at English core. So you may want to say label var. What is the var? The var is English score. And what label do you want to give it? Maximum score for English. So let's run that and have a look. So you see it's here. In the same way you will do for maths and you will do for French. No, French now will be average score for French. Let me do that just for French. So French score, copy, French, and you put it here and you say average score for French. So run again. Average score for French, maximum score for English. We talked about clarity. The mean and the math score may not just look good there. Okay, so basically that's that with that. And that's how powerful collapse is. So it has other statistical additions, but like we said, we limit this to the essentials in the beginner class. We don't want to go too deep and overwhelm you with too much information. When you get to the intermediate class, you will get deeper information and you'll be stressed a little bit more, but at least you had done a lot of practice, you've stretched yourself, and we're confident now that you can take added layers of logic and complexity. So thank you so much for watching the video. Please don't forget to like, to subscribe. There are a couple of videos coming out. We have over 50 videos currently, but I know we're going to cross 150 shortly, and we'll be going to details, exposing, giving you enough context so that you can be able to use Stata very effectively, especially for data management. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. We don't really have much practicals again until we get to the next module, and then we now start doing a lot of intensive tasks that will help coordinate everything we have done. For example, here we are using principles in line 38 to 45. We are used principles in that we learned in module 3. So, and the principles that we also learned, I think in the same module is what we are using here. This Excel, I think we learned it in module, I think also module 3 or module 4. So all these things are now coming together. There's a coming together of all these concepts and principles. So now just explain a goal, and you will now think of the command that is going to use that that principle. So thank you so much for your time. I will see you in the next video.